Sergio Oliva was a Cuban immigrant who revolutionized bodybuilding with his incredible physique and dominance in the golden era of bodybuilding. He was the only man to ever defeat Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Mr. Olympia contest, and he won the title 3 times in a row from 1967 to 1969. He was also the first black bodybuilder to win the Mr. Olympia and the Mr. Universe titles. But how did he achieve such a remarkable feat? How did he go from a Cuban weightlifter to a 3-time Mr. Olympia winner? And what can we learn from his journey as aspiring bodybuilders today? In this video, we're going to uncover the secrets behind Oliva's rise to fame and his jaw-dropping physique.
Mr. World, a former Mr. Universe, a 3-time Mr. Olympia, he's going head-to-head.
We're going to take a look at his early life, his transition to bodybuilding, his challenges and achievements, his injuries and treatments, and his death and legacy. But before we dive deeper into Oliva's incredible journey, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos. We have a lot of amazing content coming your way, and you don't want to miss it. Trust me, you'll thank me later. All right, let's get started. Sergio Oliva was born on July 4, 1941, in Guanabacoa, Cuba. His father was a farmer in Guanabacoa, Cuba, and his mother was a housewife. He grew up in a poor and rural area, where he started working in the sugarcane fields at the age of 12. He was a hardworking and athletic kid, who enjoyed playing soccer and baseball. When he was 16, he enlisted in the army of Fulgencio Batista, the dictator of Cuba at the time. He was assigned to the weightlifting team, where he discovered his talent and passion for lifting heavy weights. He quickly became one of the best weightlifters in Cuba, and he competed in several national and international events. In 1962, he got the opportunity to Cuban weightlifting team which participated in the Central American and Caribbean Games. He won a silver medal in Kingston, Jamaica. However, he had a secret plan. He wanted to escape from Cuba and defect to the United States. He was unhappy with the political situation in Cuba, and he wanted to pursue his dreams of becoming a bodybuilder. He managed to sneak out of the hotel where he was staying with his team, and he boarded a flight to Miami, Florida. He arrived in the US with nothing but his clothes and his weightlifting shoes. He didn't speak any English, and he had no money or contacts. He was a stranger in a strange land. He spent his first night in a park, where he met a Cuban couple who offered him a place to stay. They helped him find a job as a TV repairman, and they introduced him to the Cuban community in Miami. He was grateful for their kindness and generosity, but he had bigger dreams. He wanted to move to Chicago, where he heard there was a thriving bodybuilding scene. He saved enough money to buy a bus ticket to Chicago, where he settled in a small apartment. He found a job in a steel mill, where he worked long and hard hours. He also joined the Duncan YMCA, where he met some of the top bodybuilders in the area. He was amazed by their muscular and aesthetic physiques, and he decided to switch from weightlifting to bodybuilding. He started training with them, and he learned the basics of bodybuilding. He followed a high-protein and high-calorie diet, and he trained with heavy weights and high intensity. He also experimented with different supplements and steroids, which were legal and widely available at the time. He made rapid and impressive progress, and he soon developed a physique that was unlike anything anyone had ever seen before. He had a massive and symmetrical frame, with huge arms, chest, shoulders, back, and legs. He had a tiny waist, which accentuated his V-taper and his flaring lats. He had a flawless and smooth skin, which highlighted his muscle definition and separation. He had a charismatic and confident presence, which captivated the audience and the judges. He was a genetic freak, a bodybuilding phenomenon, a myth. He entered his first bodybuilding contest in 1964, the Mr. Chicago, and he won it easily. He then went on to win the Mr. World, the Mr. Universe, and the Mr. Olympia titles, beating some of the best bodybuilders in the world, including Larry Scott, Harold Poole, Dave Draper, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. He became the undisputed king of bodybuilding, and he earned the respect and admiration of his peers and fans. He was featured on the cover of many bodybuilding magazines, and he traveled around the world to perform guest posing and seminars. He was living his dream, and he was enjoying every moment of it. However, His journey was not without difficulties and challenges. He faced many obstacles and hardships along the way, such as language barriers, discrimination, politics, injuries, and personal problems. One of the biggest challenges he faced was the language barrier. He didn't speak any English when he arrived in the US, and he had to learn it on his own. He had trouble communicating with his employers, his trainers, his fellow bodybuilders, and the judges. He often felt isolated and misunderstood, and he had to rely on his friends and translators to help him out. He also faced discrimination and racism in bodybuilding. He was one of the few black bodybuilders in the scene, and he had to deal with prejudice and hostility from some of the white bodybuilders and promoters. He was often denied opportunities and recognition because of his ethnicity and his accent. He was also accused of cheating and using illegal drugs, even though he was tested and cleared by the authorities. He also had to deal with the politics and corruption in bodybuilding. He was often at odds with the IFBB, International Federation of Bodybuilding, the governing body of bodybuilding, and its president, Joe Weider. He felt that they were biased and unfair towards him, and that they favored other bodybuilders, especially Arnold Schwarzenegger. He claimed that they tried to sabotage his career and his reputation, and that they rigged the judging and the results of some of the contests. He also suffered many injuries and setbacks in his bodybuilding career. He tore his biceps, his triceps, his pecs, and his quads. He broke his wrist, his elbow, and his ankle. He had several surgeries and operations to repair his damaged muscles and joints. He had to take time off from training and competing, and he had to deal with pain and discomfort. He also had some personal problems and issues in his life. He had a turbulent and violent relationship with his first wife, Arlene Garrett, who accused him of domestic abuse and filed for divorce. He had a custody battle over his son, Sergio Jr., who he loved dearly. He had financial troubles and legal troubles, and he had to pay alimony and child support. He also had some health problems and complications, such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and kidney failure. He had to overcome all these challenges and more, and he never gave up. He always bounced back and came back stronger and better than ever. He was a fighter, a survivor, and a champion. He continued to compete and perform until the late 1980s, when he retired from bodybuilding. He then focused on his other passions and hobbies, such as painting, sculpting, and martial arts. He also became a police officer in Chicago, where he served and protected the community for over 25 years. He remained active and fit until his final days, when he passed away on November 12, 2012, at the age of 71. He died of kidney failure after years of dialysis treatment. He was surrounded by his family and friends, who mourned his loss and celebrated his life. He left behind a legacy that will never be forgotten. He inspired and influenced generations of bodybuilders and athletes who admired his physique and his achievements. He changed the face and the standards of bodybuilding, and he set the bar for excellence and greatness. He was a legend, a myth, a phenomenon. And that's the story of Sergio Oliva, the myth. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new and interesting. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications for more awesome videos like this one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on Bodybuilding Legends. Peace out.